And joining us now from SDSU is assistant coach David Velasquez. Coach Velasquez, I appreciate the time. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you for having me, Jordan.
Yeah, of course. So the first 13 games of the season for SDSU so far, the Aztecs are 7-6. How would you describe the first 13?
Well, I think we all would. A little disappointing, but definitely promise for the future, and the future being tomorrow against Wyoming. I think we're continuing to get better and learn from our mistakes. And as a coach and as a team, you look at the scoreboard first to see if you won or lost, and then it's how can we get better. And I think we're continuing to do that. Our young guys have played really well for us, and they're just continuing to get better as we move forward throughout the year. And we got to find ways to win. And we lost a couple home games, and which doesn't happen too much throughout an entire season, and it's already happened. 3 times now? So we got to find a way to protect home court and move forward as we continue through the season.
I know the team is definitely keeping the coaches a little bit busy this year. That is for sure. What are your coaches focusing on right now when it comes to this basketball team? What are you guys looking at in practice? What are you trying to improve on?
I think the biggest area, I think we all know the biggest area for us to improve is our offense. And there's a lot of different things that we could do to improve our offense, but it's really being consistent night in, night out, every practice, just trying to execute, move at a pace that's hard to guard, and finally at the end produce. Make the shot that you get, shoot it with confidence. If you miss it, shoot the next one. And I think we're doing that better as the season is continuing. And we've had some really good practices. We're excited about Wyoming tomorrow because the one thing we hang our hat on, and we don't take it for granted, is that we really sit down and guard. We're still a top 15 defensive team in the country this year, and we play. And the only way to do that is to play hard and give effort, and we have done that. I think our team has continued to play hard. We just have to find a way to produce a little bit more on the offensive end.
Yeah, the Aztecs right now riding a 2-game losing streak, which is something that hasn't happened around the program in almost 100 games, that they haven't lost back-to-back games. And following the Grand Canyon loss, the loss last Tuesday against Kansas, and now Wyoming is going to come to town to open up conference play. Could you describe the feeling around practice? What's it like inside the Jam Center and as your team gets ready for their next game? What's the feeling like?
To be honest, excitement, enthusiasm. Ready to go, ready to start what Coach says, book number 2 on your year. And, we say it all the time. There's book 1, there's book 2, and there's book 3. And every book has its own ending. That's preseason, conference, and then the postseason. And right now we're ready for chapter 1 and book number 2. And we're looking to turn a page and truly step up and have a little bit more carryover from practice to the games. We do make shots and we do, get really good execution at practice, and we have to find a way for that to carry over into tomorrow's game versus Wyoming, who's a very good team who could beat anyone night in and night out.
What do you think the story will be for book number 2 for this team?
The story will be how the young guys will no longer be young guys. Our starting point guard, Jeremy Hemsley, he's 13 games in. He's had a lot of pressure on him. I think he's handled it pretty well. He's producing at a high level. He needs to even get better and better as we move forward. And Xylan Cheatham, another redshirt freshman, needs to continue to play with the energy that he does at every game, no matter what's going on, and continue to be a next play guy. And he was great against Kansas. We expect him to be great tomorrow night. And then for some other guys like a Malik Pope to really come out and find his way on the offensive end and do a little bit better on the defensive end, just be a better all-around player and have a little fun playing the game of basketball. And I think that's what we're really looking for. It's just individually to step up. And if you do that, if you take care of yourself, collectively as a team, we'll be better.
Talking to Coach Velasquez, the assistant coach for San Diego State basketball, as the Aztecs get ready for conference play. It opens tomorrow at the Madhouse against Wyoming. Pre-game coverage going to start at 6:30. Ted Leitner will have the call at 7 p.m. right here on the Mighty 1090. You brought up some individual players. Jeremy Hemsley's a guy that we've been talking about all season. He leads the team in almost every major offensive category. But you also brought up a guy like Malik Pope, and we just talked about what it's like. There's excitement around practices still. You guys are excited to start conference play. What's Malik Pope feeling right now?
He's really trying to find his way on that offensive end, on where he could be successful. And there's definitely things that he's seen on film and sitting back and really being able to take a deep breath. This is a pretty long break. And to college basketball season, if we play on December 22nd and not play till December 30th, that's almost as long as our finals break was. So, we had a chance to kind of take a deep breath, enjoy some family time. And I think right now Malik is coming back and really looking at having fun and taking a little bit of the pressure off his shoulder that he started with in the beginning of the year and wanting so much success so early. And if he can just and he's doing it right now at practice, he's having fun playing the game of basketball. If he can do that little minor piece, I think we'll start to see him produce at a higher level during games.
What are you guys going to need out of Winston Shepard now that conference plays here?
Winston's he's the one guy who's been through all the wars. You would say him and Skylar Spencer have been through all the big games and all the big moments and all the times that a season's kind of hit some low bumps and it's hit the top of the mountain. They've been around, and I think for Winston is to really kind of lead this team through the rough times and be the guy that the guys get to follow through the great times. And he's a guy, who can come out in any given night, second half versus Cal. Last year you can think of all these halves that he's played really good. If he can continue to do that and maybe put a couple halves together in some games, he's a special player. And there's a reason that he's, we'll look back and probably be a 4-year starter. And Winston's a guy, he can do a lot for us. And if he continues to rebound the ball, which he's doing pretty well on both ends because of his height and length, and continue to finish around the rim, which he's been better at this year, I think he's going to have a great conference year.
I think the most consistent player, and maybe you'll agree with this, has been Jeremy Hemsley for SDSU. Can you talk a little bit about the true freshman coming in, leading the team in points, leading the team in assists, and a lot of categories across the offensive side? What is Jeremy Hemsley, even though just a true freshman, what has he meant to this team?
He's meant a lot, and we've put a lot in his hands, and that's what happens when you're a freshman point guard. But he knew that when we recruited him, that he was going to come in and really have the keys to the car. And he's done a great job with just wanting to learn and never having success and just feeling like he had all the answers, and never being so low and having a bad game and feeling like the world's going to end. He's really been consistent in his attitude and effort every single day. And I think that's why you've seen it's probably been, like you said, the most consistent players, because he doesn't really have a roller coaster of emotions when he looks back after games, during games. And he's done a great job for us, and I think he's going to continue to get better. We as a coach, we don't need to put it out there, but there's definitely some areas of improvement that once he figures out and once he continues to get better at those areas of improvement, we're going to even see a bigger jump out of Jeremy Hemsley than we've already seen in his freshman year.
And speaking of freshmen, redshirt freshman Xylan Cheatham, I know Steve Fisher has kind of described him as the Energizer Bunny for this team. You can definitely tell why he would be described that way when you watch him on the court. I don't know if Cheatham always knows where he's supposed to be on the court or what he's exactly supposed to do, but that guy is 110% all the time.
And you know what, as a coach, that's all you could really ask for, and you can continue to make him better. If he slowed down and saw the floor a little bit better, he would score a few more baskets here and there, but his 110% effort every day in practice and all the games, that's as much you can ask for out of a young kid like that. Now, once he gives that effort, we can really start to zero in on some things like I had mentioned before, slowing down, finding his move, who's guarding him. Okay, this is the move I like when I got this kind of guy on me. And then in the full court, the more stops we get, if we can start to create just 2 or 3 more turnovers, we call live ball turnovers a game. You saw the windmill versus Kansas. It wasn't like he was all alone. I mean, that kid's got athleticism, and he brings energy to the entire building when he's able to get out in the open floor and score. And we thought we'd have more opportunities for him early in his year to have more open floor opportunities, but we got to get him more. And I think we'll do that as we move forward, depending on the team we play, obviously. But if we play a team like a Kansas that just goes mano-a-mano, doesn't send 4 guys back on shot, and they can play in the fast break, you'll see Xylan Cheatham even have more highlight real opportunities as we move forward.
Coach Velasquez from San Diego State joining us here on San Diego Sports Leader, the Mighty 1090. Coach, last one for you, and it's about a player that we haven't seen on the court yet this year, a local product from La Costa Canyon. Matt Shrigley had the ACL back in July. It sounds like he will return at some point this season, maybe as early as next month once conference play gets going. Could you provide any update on Matthew Shrigley? And if you can't, maybe talk about what his return to the team might mean coming down the stretch.
What you just said is the update, and there really is nothing more than that. I mean, we're kind of hoping for him to return at some point in this conference year, and we don't know when it's going to be exactly. But the best part about Matt Shrigley is he has had the same attitude going to rehab every day since day one. And there's a reason that he's going to be able to come back this year and come back at the earliest set date the doctors will allow him because of his approach to his rehab. He never missed a day of icing his knee. He never missed a day of getting treatment. He never missed a day of when he could start to walk and do balance boards. He didn't miss anything. And I think Matt's put himself in a position to come in right away and help this team win basketball games. And I always laugh with people. It's almost like we forget how good Matt's been. You know, we're playing St. John's last year in the NCAA tournament. He starts out the game 5 for 5 from three. And to have a guy like that, a weapon on the offensive end, is so beneficial to your team. And he's a pretty good defender as well. He's long. He's athletic. He can get out and cause deflections and turnovers. So, you know, Matt's a guy that we're hoping for can step in and help this team win basketball games. And he's done a great job of putting himself in a position to return this year. And that's all you can ask for out of a kid.
Coach, I know I said that was the last one, but I have one more for you. I promise. I know they're different sports, and usually these won't cross over, but San Diego State has somewhat been a basketball school lately with all the success that the basketball program has had. How about the football team this year? Does the football team inspire the basketball team at all?
I know it inspires the coaches. I hope we do exactly what they did. You know, they didn't start. They didn't have a hot start. We didn't have a hot start, and they went into conference and they dominated. And they didn't not only dominated, they got better as they played throughout the year, all the way to the bowl game where they kicked butt. And that was probably the best. You know, as a fan, I'm such a big fan of Aztec football. That's the best I've seen them play was in that last game. I mean, we're so happy for them. And I hope they get in that top 25. And I remember the first time we got into that top 25 when we went to Kansas. I'm talking not Kansas. We went to Gonzaga. Gonzaga had 4 home losses, and we won that game, and we knew we were in the top 25. It's an amazing feeling to be recognized as one of the nation's best. And hopefully it's much deserved for them to be in that top 25, and they've had a great season. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. I mean, even when you talk to the coaches after the Penn State loss, they thought they got better from the South Alabama loss when they went to Penn State, and they were ready to start the conference year. And I think that's exactly what we're looking forward to doing. Start the conference year and compete and win our 10th conference title.
Coach, I really do appreciate the time. Good luck. We'll see you tomorrow night from Viejas.
Thank you, Jordan.
All right, Coach David Velasquez joining us here on San Diego Sports Leader, the Mighty 1090. They'll take on Wyoming tomorrow.